Hello, this is going to be an advanced consecutive speech about the lockdown during the pandemic and the advantages and disadvantages that it has had for many people. I'll begin now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to talk to you today about the so-called lockdowns that we have all experienced in the last more than 1 year now. I have no idea what the lockdown might be called in your country. Certainly, where some of my family come from, in Greece, it was known as "We Stay at Home." In Belgium, where I live, and France, it's called "Le Confinement," the confinement to barracks, I suppose one would say in English. But the truth is that, as is often the case, many countries did adopt the English name and simply called it the lockdown. It's been the dominant and novel experience of the last couple of years, and it was introduced to stem the tide, to flatten the curve of the spread of the new coronavirus known as COVID-19. So what was the lockdown, or what is the lockdown, a lockdown? It means that people have to stay at home. They have to work from home. They have to shop wherever possible from home. They have to exercise at home. They have to be educated at home. They have to socialize from home, of course to varying degrees at different times. But essentially it's about staying at home and limiting activities that bring you into contact with other people. It's had huge implications, of course, for all of us, and not all of which are negative. The fact is that the lockdown worked. It meant that the spread of the virus was checked initially, and cases requiring intensive care treatment remained manageable. The second area where the lockdown had a positive effect was on the environment. Fewer vehicles and planes circulated, and air quality improved in many places. I even heard it say that blue skies could be seen in China for the first time in a long time. But jokes aside, NASA and the European Space Agency have provided satellite imagery that shows that nitrogen dioxide concentrations in cities like Paris, Madrid or Rome decreased sharply. Now, for many people, as long as their job was safe, and they weren't very isolated, living alone for example, the lockdown had many benefits. It meant far more time with the family, it meant more time to exercise, it meant rediscovering home cooking, it meant the opportunity to clear and tidy drawers and cupboards that hadn't been tidied in decades. It was an opportunity even to catch up with long-lost friends and relatives, and it was also a release from having to sit in traffic jams. So that sort of thing was an unexpected boon for a lot of people, although at the same time all too many were not so lucky. For many, the lockdown was worse than the virus itself might have been. According to the ILO, job losses in the second quarter of 2020 were equivalent to 400 million full-time jobs. Bankruptcies, of course, also increased exponentially. Those who were already at risk of domestic violence have suffered. There's been a sharp increase in rates of domestic violence. People are trapped, of course, for longer periods at home with their abusers, and find it harder also to find or call for help. There's been a sharp increase in mental health problems as well, so people suffering anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, depression. Children have suffered, of course, disproportionately. Their education has fallen behind. They may often have become fatter due to the more sedentary lifestyle. Their screen time has increased, often even not by choice, because so many activities have been shifted to the screen. And the consensus is that many children will come out of the pandemic and its lockdowns with poorer cognitive skills and a poorer ability to self-regulate, to discipline themselves when necessary. So it has to be said that a lockdown will bring gains for some people and losses for others. There have been those who've raked in the profits. There have been those who've lost everything. There are those who've never had to work harder and those who've had to sit around doing nothing. There are those who've thrived and those who have been driven to suicide. It's a hugely varied picture. But one thing is certain, it's been a time like no other, and for most of us perhaps a milestone, a real turning point. Thank you very much.